All right, now I'm going to go ahead and share. There we go. All right. So, um, well, let's see. Uh, pieces of information before I get started. As you know, I started the record to record the presentation. So I will be sending out a link to this presentation after it's done downloading. So you should get that later today, um, along with some other things. So if you're taking notes, don't worry, just kind of sit back, relax. You can have this to go over as a reference. Also, if you have questions at any time, please feel free to put them in the chat. I will periodically check the chat to see how we're doing. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. No question is a bad question. They're all good. And lastly, if you have not accepted your course invitation from Canvas, please check your email. And if you're not able to get in, I'm going to put the link to the tech support so you can put it in there. So give me 1 second because I've learned I cannot type and talk at the same time. So I'm going to put that in here right now. Okay, it's open MOOC, all caps, and then an S lowercase at fhi360.org. That's the same email that you probably had in your own course when you took the online course, whenever that was. So that's there for you. So let's get started. My name is Claire McLaughlin. I am a senior global educator at Arizona State University's Global Launch. Global Launch is the department that teaches English to our international students who are going to go into the university, or that they're there just for their study abroad experience. We have both online courses in English and in person on campus. We also do different teacher training programs. We have a wonderful relationship with the Department of State and open to be able to do classes like this. I have facilitated this course about 4 times in the past. So like you, I have some familiarity with it. It's a really interesting course, and I'm so glad that you are here today volunteering your time. So we'll get started. And we'll get started with our agenda. We're going to go over what a MOOC is. Sometimes there's different definitions out there, so this will put us all on the same page. Then we'll go over the course outline of the MOOC, your facilitation role and your responsibilities, and then we'll finish up with questions. However, if you have questions in the meantime, please feel free to put them in the chat or unmute yourself. You feel free to do that as well. All right, so what is a MOOC? So you'll see over here on the left, we've got two columns. One is GOC, which is the Global Online Course. That's the course that you took. And then there's a MOOC, and a MOOC stands for Massive Open Online Course. So you can see some of the differences that that happen in between a GOC or the online course and a MOOC. When you took the course, there were only 25 of you, maybe 23. And you had a facilitator that gave you feedback, that could respond back and forth in email. In this case, a MOOC is unlimited, so that means it's open to everybody. I last checked this morning and we are at about 4,500 students. So people are very eager to take this course. So that's a huge difference from 25. When you took the course, it was 8 weeks long. It had a starting point and an ending point in 8 weeks. Our MOOC is a little bit shorter. We're going to have it in 5 weeks, and I'm going to show you how that breaks down for each week. It's a lot shorter. Um, you had an instructor that was a person who graded your work, gave you feedback, etc. In this case, we have it's more a MOOC is more facilitated. Someone's just kind of guiding you, supporting the participants. They're not really grading a whole lot of work, and we're going to get into that in a little bit. Lastly, a global online course, there's more content. You had to do a lot of work in the online course that you took. And you're going to see in a few minutes that the workload for this MOOC is a little bit less. Don't get jealous or anything. So, and there's probably more self-study. And we're going to talk about that in a few minutes too, as to how what the assignments or what the tasks look like in this MOOC. So that's the difference between the two of what you took and our online, or the MOOC. All right, so like I said, 5 modules. Now, you probably remember the ADDIE model, right? Does that sound familiar? Where you had the analyze, design, develop, implement, and evaluate. So all of that is still in this 5-week course, but you can see how module 1 has a lot more in it. It's the analyze and design. So they're going to have their course introduction, their needs analysis, and the course outline all in the first module. And then module 2, they design their module framework. Module 3 is the hybrid module framework, and hopefully some of these names are sounding familiar to you. And then in module 4, they start adding learning assets. And that's when they talk about those multimedia principles, if you remember those at all. And if you don't, you'll be seeing them again. And lastly, in the 5th module, they're going to be implementing, evaluating, and designing their final action plan. So those are the assignments that they're going to be doing in 5 weeks. So when you took your online course, you might remember that each module opened on on a Tuesday, and it closed the following Monday. We're kind of shifting that a little bit with the MOOC. So in this case, every module opens on a Monday and it closes on the following Sunday. So it's still 7 days long, but it's just shifting back a day. So it's Monday through Sunday. And each module opens as each week goes on. They're not open all at once. So that's the same thing with your course that you took, that each week a different module opened, or the next module opened. And we have the dates right there. And if you're not sure about these dates, they are also in the syllabus. So they will be there. The course ends Sunday, September 24th. That's a date you might want to remember, because sometimes participants will email or they'll post, when does the course end? Can I have an extension? You know, sadly, there aren't any extensions. The course ends when it ends. So it's a strict deadline. I know sometimes in our online course, we could grant extensions for certain circumstances, but unfortunately, that will not be the case for the MOOC. All right. So I'm going to go over some differences in how the MOOC is going to be facilitated or run. And you're going to notice some things right off the bat that are going to be very different compared to when you took your online course. So the first thing you're going to notice, possibly right off the bat, is your discussion boards. When you took the online course, you had to reply, I think, to maybe 2 discussion boards in each module. And you also were required to respond to one of your classmates. In the MOOC, the discussions are optional. So participants do not have to post on the discussion boards. They are also not graded. I believe in the online course, you receive 10 points in the homework section for yours. In the MOOC, it's not graded, it's optional. Also, we have no graded assignments. I know you had that huge task at the end of every module, whether it was the hybrid framework or the course framework or the script, where it was a big assignment, and it was graded 25 points, and it had a lot of weight to it. For the MOOC, we're not grading anything. There are no graded assignments. I know that seems really strange. And sometimes for our participants, they want to submit something because they want feedback. You do not have to give feedback. That's not the way this course is run. Those tasks at the end of the module will have a self-evaluation rubric so they can evaluate themselves. And that's what you can kind of gently let them know. Well, there isn't any feedback. Please see your self-evaluation rubric, and that will help you. There's no place to submit it. They'll be asking, where do I submit it? You don't. So that might be a little confusing for some of our participants. The other thing that's a little bit different is as the participants go through the module, they have to click on each page before the next one unlocks. They cannot skip right to the end. It's not all completely open. They have to manually go through each of the pages. So that way it slows them down, and hopefully they will read the material, take it in, and go through the course that way. That way they're not going right to the end for each thing and then finish up without really engaging with the content. So that might be something else where participants ask, how come I can't move on to the next module? It's usually because they have not clicked through and answered some of the questions that they were supposed to answer. So now let's take a look at what they do need to do. Every module will have 2 or 3 tasks called checks for understanding. These are basically quizzes, okay? And they are, like I said, they're in each module. Participants have to have a 70% in these checks for understanding in order to pass it. However, they can take it as many times as they need to in order to pass. Each check has about 4 or 5 questions, so it's not very long. And again, the participants can take it as many times as they need. And the last part is the module check. This is at the very end of every module, and the participants need to open it up, and all they need to do is answer 1 question. So you can kind of see that there's a big difference in what's expected of the participants in this MOOC compared to what you had to do for the online course. It's meant to be a little bit more, I don't want to say relaxed, but it's not as intense as the course that you took and the one that I facilitated. So when it comes to facilitation, you are going to be looking in 3 different areas, okay? One is the content support discussion. This can be found in the Get Help module. There's a module, and I'm going to show you in a minute if you haven't had a chance to look. And it's a place where participants are supposed to ask questions about the module, about the information. It's not a technology support. It's not an introduction. It's really strictly for getting help, basically. And oftentimes in other open MOOCs that I have facilitated, people are kind of confused and they just want to introduce themselves, which is lovely. You know, it's great they're participating. However, we do have to spend some time and say, thank you, it's lovely to meet you. Please put your introduction in the community building post of Module 1. Please keep this space open for questions. We're happy to answer any questions that you have. So it's a little confusing, it happens. Another place to facilitate is the Canvas inbox. Participants will be emailing us. A lot of times they will email because they can't find or they don't know how to use or how to get their certificate, or they don't know why isn't anyone grading my work or anything like that. So please feel free. You can answer those questions if you know the answer. If you do that, please use the drop-down menu and include or copy all teaching assistants. That's all of us. That way we know the questions have been answered and we don't have to go in there and answer them again. So it just kind of saves a step. But don't be afraid to answer those questions if you know the answer. The big place, the most important place that you are going to be facilitating is the module discussions, okay? There's discussion boards throughout, and that's going to be the place that's going to have the most facilitation. So let's get into how we can go about responding. And what we're doing here is, these are just some ideas to kind of get you started. You know from experience with your online course, interacting with others, it's not a problem. So these are just really reminders. You can respond to why you think the post was great. Feel free to ask any questions. If you do ask questions, you might want to remember, if you can, to follow up the next time you go on to see if the learner did in fact respond. Sometimes they do. Feel free to share your own experience that you had with the course. You're the expert, you're the subject matter expert. You can say you've been there, it's a lot of work. Feel free to share your own experiences that you took from the course. Please sign your name followed by Open Alumni Facilitator. That's real important to do, because that's going to distinguish you from all the others in the course. It shows that you are the subject matter expert, that you are the person with experience. Also, it helps us together as a team to not respond to each other's posts. Okay, so we know that if it's a discussion facilitator or an alumni facilitator, we don't have to go in and copy or comment on theirs. Okay, we only want to comment on the participants. So having that distinguished open alumni facilitator after your name really helps you and me, because think about it this way. Think about it, you're at a huge gathering with 4,500 people and 25 people. You don't want to talk to those 25 people. You want to get out and talk to everybody else and the people and introduce yourselves and make them comfortable. So having that name posted or that title posted is very helpful. One thing to keep in mind, please, you do not have to respond to all of the posts. Okay, please keep in mind you are one of 25 facilitators. So we got people to help each other out. We are a team. You're not doing this all by yourself. And you're only spending, remember, 2, maybe 3 hours a week. So if you find that you're engaging with some of the posts and it's maybe taking you a little bit longer, that's okay. And lastly, please do not copy and paste the same response through each post. Great job, I love your post. Great job, I love your post. Great job, I love your post. It doesn't show that you're really caring. It doesn't show that you're being authentic. So it's really best if you can write individual posts. Take your time, okay? Again, you're not responding to all of them. I see we have a question here, so I'm going to look at that. Yes, adding the open facilitator is important. I've been facilitating previously and helped a lot. Yes, okay, good. So you've done this before. Thank you. It is. It really keeps us kind of separated out. Thank you for sharing that. I appreciate that perspective. All right. Common things to think about: do your best to be consistent and reliable. Thank you for signing up for that time to facilitate, or that day, excuse me. We didn't put times down. That seemed kind of strange because we're all over the place in different time zones. So, if you can't make it, life happens. I understand things get busy. Our course load, our workload changes suddenly, our family situation changes suddenly. Feel free to email me and just let me know, hey, I can't make it this week. Here's what's going on. No problem. It's okay. We're all human. While you're on the discussion boards, obviously you want to either cheerleader, encourage, motivate, just think about what would get you going. What would you like to hear or to read on your own post? What were some of the things that your instructor said to you in posts that kind of motivated you? What kind of feedback? Also, do your best to deal with issues and answer questions. Some of the issues, the problems that might come up are we might have people who plagiarize. We know that certificates are very important to people. It means maybe a bump in pay. It might mean a promotion. So there's like this kind of, sometimes people are a little bit desperate to grab these certificates and maybe not put a whole lot of work into them. So they think, no one's watching, no one's reading, I'm going to copy and paste. If you see that, let me know. It is not your job to police the discussion boards. You can let me know. Your job is maybe to spy, not police. So just feel free to let me know. Send me an email, either in the Canvas inbox or my ASU. I prefer the ASU one. I will see it faster. And just give me the name and the discussion post. I will go in there and take care of it. I will reach out to the participant and say, hey, not good. You can't do that. We really appreciate you that you use your own words. And then I will remove the post. Occasionally, we get people who are very excited about their website or webinars that they are making, and they post them, please join. We can't do that either. So let me know and I will go in there and let them know that they can't do that. Also, just, feel free to answer those questions as best you can. So speaking of answering questions, where can we go? So what I'm going to do real quick is I'm going to go to our course, and I'm in the modules, and hopefully you can see them. The orientation module has a lot of information in it. I highly recommend the Canvas user orientation. A lot of people might be new to Canvas or even to online courses. Maybe they've never taken one and they don't really know how to get online. We've got avoiding plagiarism. Discussion tips are for you. We've got, and for them as well. This is a common one to go to for help, discussion or certification and badges. Everybody wants to know, when am I going to get it? Where is it? Things like that. If you scroll down, there is the Get Help module. This is the content support discussion that I mentioned earlier, where the questions are really only about the course and their questions. This is not a place to introduce. Or submit homework or things like that, because they can't do that. Underneath it is the technical support. This is the information that has the survey that people can fill out that will go to Open so they can figure out what the problem is and contact the learner. And it also has the Open MOOC lowercase s email address for information. So that's where you're going to get that information. And then lastly, here is the syllabus. So we've got our syllabus here that goes through all of the information, what their expectations are, things like that. And this bottom part here will tell you the due dates. So module 1 closes or finishes, it doesn't close, is August 27th and so on. So that's how that's going to look. All right, let's keep moving. Okay, so we're going to have issues. They will happen. Occasionally, you might see a struggling or an odd post. Um, Keep in mind, this course is open to everybody. So that means we are going to have participants who might have a lower level of English. They might have a difficult time understanding. They might even post in their native language. In that case, if they post in their native language, just a nice reminder, gosh, we would love to see what you have. Could you please translate this into English, because the course is given in English. So that can happen. You just never know. Some things, it might seem odd. You can take a look at that 5C in the orientation module. Feel free to email the participant and let them know, say, hey, I think, is there how are things going? Or you can even just let me know. Technical issues, they will happen. Open MOOC S at fhi360.org. That is where you want to send your participants. You are not going to be the tech support person. You just refer. That's all you have to do. Inappropriate posts, including plagiarism, let me know. Okay, I'll take care of that. My email is there. And also, hopefully, you should have my email by now just through some of our correspondences. So, a couple things to remember when you get started. You sit down and you have your coffee, your tea, or whatever, your water, and you're getting ready to read through some posts. I highly recommend taking a couple minutes to read the prompt and the example. The example kind of gets in your head what to kind of look for. It also keeps you alert if people are copying and pasting the example as their post. So that kind of helps. Your responsibility is 2 to 3 hours a week, no more than that. We are fully covered. We have, a lot, almost 25 people have signed up. And so we've got some very good coverage. So don't feel that you have to go beyond that. If you also feel that, you've been working on some posts, it's about an hour and a half in, that's fine. If there isn't anything else that needs to be covered, that's okay. Don't worry about it. I'm not checking. Please don't change any of the settings or the content. That's all in there by our course designers. However, that being said, if you see something that doesn't seem right, or you have a question, or you see a formatting issue, maybe even a spelling mistake, let me know. Okay, let me know where it is, and I can contact our course designers. You can never have enough people read something over because little things still come up. And again, no grade book. You don't have to do anything in the grades. Nothing at all. So, because there isn't anything for you to grade. And those are the things for you to remember. So, a few other things to remember, and this one I also have to remember, is Open is asking us to have our facilitating team fill out a survey every week. So it's going to look like this. So it'll say SIOC, which stands for Creating and Implementing Online Courses, MOOC Facilitation Report Form. And I am going to email this to you every Friday, and all you need to do is complete it. And what they're asking you to do is you're going to say which module you kind of focused on. If you were all over the place, that's okay. Just choose one of them, because it is a one answer only, rather than multiple answers. And then it's going to ask you a post of the week from these discussion boards. So think about, as you're posting, was there one that really maybe touched you, made you think a little bit more? Maybe you found it humorous. Maybe you liked the thinking that that participant was doing, whatever the reason, okay? But one post, and what you're going to do is fill out these questions. It's going to say the name of the module discussion board, and they'll give you an example here. Your name, or no, excuse me, not your name, the name of the participant. So get the name of that participant, and or however they've signed, their post, and then copy and paste it right here. And then here, what you're going to do is you're going to, these are optional. There's two more questions that are optional. What questions did participants have about the content of the module? Do you notice a theme happening with their questions? Because that's maybe something that is not clear and needs to be remedied by our design team. Also, feel free to share any additional comments or concerns. That's there for you. So those two are optional. So again, that'll come to you every week, and it needs to be completed by Sunday. So do your best, and I will do my best to remember to send it to you. So lastly, there's my email address. Again, if you have any questions or concerns, I'm here to support you, okay? So don't feel like you have to do this on your own. And lastly, please remember, have fun. Enjoy you spending time with these participants. It's so amazing. They're from all over the world, and it's they're just so eager to learn from the course, from you, the experts who have already taken the course. So they're a lot of fun. So I think hopefully you will enjoy them. So have fun. And of course, you have homework. So if you have not done so already, please update your profile with your name, Open Alumni Facilitator, and a picture, if you have one, or an avatar that resembles you, okay, if you're comfortable that way. You might want to update your notification settings. I will be sending out announcements on the MOOC for the participants about twice a week. So if you want to see what's coming, you might want to do that. Take some time, please, to review the course syllabus and the orientation module. It's really helpful to know ahead of time where to look for information so you can get that information out when you're answering questions. And lastly, please take a few moments, post on the Module 1, Task 1, Building Community Discussion. Introduce yourselves, say where you're from, let them know that you've taken the course already. That would be really good. Okay. Oh, thank you, Susmita. Thank you so much. I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. All right. And a few more things. We're almost done. I promise you. I'm on the second to the last slide. I am going to be sending you some information. So please check your emails sometime today. You're going to have I'm going to send you a 2-page document. It's called Moderating Discussion Boards in the Creating and Implementing Online Courses MOOC. And I'm going to show you a minute what that's going to look like so you can expect to see that. So that looks like this. It's a very long document. Basically, this covers the same information that I have said. So it's just another resource for you about this course and your expectations. And FHI 360 is going to be sending you a code of conduct survey. The reason they're doing this is they want to ensure that we are providing a safe and environment for our participants. So as soon as you get that, please take a few moments and complete it. It's something that they want all of us to do. So take a look for that. I will also be sending you the recording. So from me, you're going to get the 2-page guide on moderating discussions and the webinar training. From FHI 360, you will get a survey. So that should be coming to you. Okay, so in previous courses I've facilitated and participated, some participants have answered things like, yes, of course, and they've used their native language. Yes, they have. And that's, again, one of those kind of odd postings. When that happens with the yes, of course, you know, feel free either to follow up with a question like, gosh, we would really like to know how you feel about this or what your ideas are on this. Please feel free to share. If you've noticed that someone continues to do it as the course moves on and it's the same person, don't engage. They clearly haven't just figured out that the discussion board is optional. Okay. Those are the ones where I just kind of go, you know what, they're not getting the message. That's unfortunate. In their own language, again, you can very politely come back and say, thank you for sharing your ideas with us. However, because this course is being taken by people all over the world, the language that we're using is English. So could you please put your answer in English? You know, that's a polite way of going through that issue. So that does happen, though. You're absolutely right. Thank you. Thank you for bringing that up. All right. Whoops, that's right. I got to go down here to turn the page. Okay. Questions? Any other questions? Please feel free to add them into the chat. I'm happy to answer. And I really appreciate you sharing your perspective with us, Jesus. So anybody have questions? Give you a couple minutes. I know sometimes the time change. Yes, here we go. Okay. Oh, thank you. I'm excited too, Neville. Thank you. I'm excited to have you here and get this started. One thing the orientation module has been open, so they can start looking at that, the participants, but we will start next Monday. So yeah, it's going to be great. I'm really excited. So if that is all, I want to say thank you. Thank you so much for being here today. Thank you for your help in being here. Jesus, thank you. I appreciate it. I know you're probably using a different thing there. So thank you so much. It's going to be great. And always, please feel free, reach out with questions anytime. I'm here. Okay. All right. If not, I will bid you adieu, a pleasant evening, a good day, wherever you are in the world. Have a great one, be safe, and I look forward to working with you a lot. Thank you.
Thanks, Claire. Good
Thank
night.
you. Good night. Sleep well. Thank you.
Okay.
Oh,
Thank you.
thank
Thanks a
you.
lot.
Thank you, Jesus. Goodbye, Alex. Thank you so
Bye. Have a
much.
nice one.
Thank you. You too. Pleasure meeting you.